How often do you have questions about running your business? Stop guessing. Get real answers to all your business questions. Unlimited access to business advisors for the expert advice you need when you need it. Go to onemorecustomer.com now.
Welcome to TwinCities.com and another edition of Tark Talk. You may recognize this gentleman to my right, Hall of Fame quarterback, Mr. Fran Tarkenton. And Fran, we've seen some craziness in Week 3 football, and of course the stories all over the place, the replacement referees, and it all culminated Monday night. Give me your take on the replacement refs.
The replacement referees are a disaster. They have been all year. The games are longer. We got games going 3.5, 4 hours. They're indecisive. The NFL failed to vet these referees. They didn't train them properly. The baseball umpires of a few years ago, they just got rid of the umpires.
Right.
Brought new umpires in, and no glitch. There are plenty of people who are experienced veteran football officials that they could have gone and gotten and trained properly. We wouldn't have the problems we have. And it culminated on Monday Night Football. I know I'm not a Packer fan, and neither are you. And I'm rooting for the Seattle Seahawks. I played those Packers for 100 years. I played against Bart Starr and Nitschke and Jimmy Taylor and all that group. And I was rooting for Seattle because it's a natural thing for me to do and for our listeners to do here. But at the end of that game, there were so many bad calls in the game, missed calls. On that last drive that Seattle had to try to get the lead when they were behind 12-7, they were just egregious pass interference calls that just shouldn't have happened.
Agreed.
And so now you have the last play of the game. This is not a Hail Mary pass from 100. You're throwing the ball 20 yards down the field. And you throw it down the field to your receiver. First of all, he pushes off. Clear push off. So if you want to call it, that should be called, but it wasn't.
Right.
And I understand you can't go back, review that, and have that call. But then the Green Bay Packer defensive back, he catches the ball in the air. You can see it on the replay, pulls it into his body. The other guy, best he does is get an arm in there, and this one official goes up this, and the other official is making another sign. They disagree, and it's called a touchdown. Now, in the NFL rule book, and this ought to be changed. It should have been changed that night. Should have been changed today. They said, well, once that call was made on the field about possession of the football, you could not reverse it.
Right.
And so what we have is we play 16 professional games a year in the NFL. But we work 52 weeks.
Right.
We're not like baseball has 162 games. We have 16. If you lose a baseball game, well, I'll make it up tomorrow.
Right.
But football, you can't make it up tomorrow. Because that could be the difference in a coach's job or a player's job or making the playoffs or have a chance for a Super Bowl. It's devastating to the fans, the players, the coaches, and it looks bad to the NFL. Now, do I think the NFL ought to go and just, all right, referees, come on back. We're going to give you everything you want. No, I don't. And Roger Goodell, don't do that. Because you cannot be irresponsible. This is a $12 billion league. Oh, we got all of this. Well, the United States government's a big old government. It's the richest. It's going broke because of bad decisions. And the key points are two. One of them is about pensions.
Right.
And the NFL says, we want to move you from a defined pension to a 401k. That's happening all for the last 20 years in industry. There are no pension programs in industry. They're 401k plans. They're very responsible and very good and maintainable. The pension plans we have in America in the public union are unsustainable.
Right.
So he's got to hold his ground there.
Sure.
And then the other one is that Roger Goodell and the commissioner has the right to fire an official for non-productivity, for not being competent. Huh? Do you want that taken away? No, they got to be accountable.
Right.
And they don't want to be accountable. They don't want to have Roger Goodell have that power. That's craziness. What we need to do is get new officials, get them better trained, work diligently, but we really we failed back in the summertime and back in the spring to really understand that we need to have top-ranked officials, and you could have found them, and had them trained properly to be able to do the job, because it's been a disaster in a season that's had the best start I've ever seen. Best games, best played games, unbelievable action, overtime, touchdowns. And I mean, look what Detroit did in the last minute with a backup quarterback. They scored 14 points in no time.
Right.
They lose, but they scored. And we've had the excitement of upsets and Oakland beating Pittsburgh. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I really think that these officials have been a disaster, and we ought to do something about it, but we ought not give away the league and the business of the league to bring the other officials back.
One of the things I want to ask you about, because this is something not many people have been commenting on, but you picked up on, is the safety of the players with the replacement officials. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's not only the officials, but back in the front office again. I want to call them the Houston Oilers, but the Houston Texans. You think I'm dumb. I didn't get dumped off the turnip truck, sportsman. But you know, the Houston Texans, I watched Matt Schaub, terrific quarterback, missed most of last year, been hurt a lot. Mm-hmm. They're playing out in Denver, and he has, almost in consecutive series, 2 hits on him, defenseless, where this linebacker's coming and hitting him right in the head with that 25-pound helmet of theirs, as hard as a brick, and knocks part of his ear off.
Right.
Why he's not dead, I don't know. And they get him a penalty for 15 yards, but that's not enough. We need to suspend him, but that's a league deal, right? They should suspend that guy for a game, 5 games for the season. Peyton Manning got a similar hit. You cannot let them tee off on quarterbacks, defenseless receivers like that, because we're going to have just a unmitigated disaster. We got the things with the concussions now. That's enough. And we got to stop it, and the only way you stop it is suspend players for more than a day, for a game, 5 games, 6 games a season, because we got to stop that type of violent play.
Well, you heard it here first, folks, from Hall of Fame quarterback Mr. Fran Tarkenton, and make sure you join us back next week for another edition of Tark Talk. Thanks
Go
again.
Vikes.